All right, so thank you everyone for taking the time to be with us today for the Master of Arts in Live Entertainment Management information session. We have a lot of great content, but before we start, I wanted to introduce myself. My name's Omar Perez. I'm an online enrollment advisor for UOnline and have the wonderful opportunity of working with many of our prospective music students. I hope that today's presentation will assist you in making the best decision for yourself. And my co-host, Andrea Jimenez, who will be coming on in a few minutes, she will go through the Q&A. And before we start, there are some housekeeping items to take care of. So this information session will be about 45 minutes long. And if you've arrived, have to take a break or leave early, no worries. A recording will be available after the session. And also, we want to make sure that the content is relevant to you. So if you have any specific questions for our panelists, please feel free to utilize the Q&A feature at the bottom. And now looking at the program at a glance, you'll see that it's 10 courses in total. One part that I did want to go into a little more detail was that each course is 7 weeks long, and you take one at a time. So you take one course, have a 1 week break, and then take the next one. So that's 2 per semesters. So at that pace, you would finish the program in 20 months. And you'll see, of course, that it's accredited. There is no type of testing requirement, so it's not necessary to submit any test scores. And lastly, at the end of the program, there's a cumulative exam. So now I'm excited to have the opportunity to introduce my co-host, Andrea Jimenez. Take it away, Andrea.
Thank you, Omar. Appreciate you and appreciate you for being here. And thank you, everyone. Welcome to the Live Entertainment Management Info session. We hope you are going to gain and gather a lot of information from us, and we're going to keep it as exciting as possible. So before we get started with our Q&A section, I'm going to ask our incredible program director, Gary Wood, to please go ahead and talk about our curriculum. What is the curriculum for the live entertainment program and those courses and what they look like? And then we will jump straight into introductions and the Q&A with him and our panelists. Gary, please go ahead and let's discuss our curriculum.
Well, it's wonderful to do these info sessions with my colleagues and with prospective students and with 2 amazing alumni who are here with us. So I'm very excited about that and honored actually to be participating in this. I love the program, of course, because I've been part of its creation 10 years ago, and so happy to see it flourishing. Again, thanks to my colleagues and the students who make it the exciting and fruitful courses that they are. But you know, the decision was to provide some flexibility. So as you see from the list here, there are 5 basically required courses. And then you've got 5 electives from which to choose from. And we do that because live entertainment is such a broad umbrella of the industry. We don't want to assume anything about what your interests might be, because there are different paths you can go with your career in live entertainment. So we try to keep it flexible, and it's a real challenge, and it's a wonderful challenge for us to be specific in many items, yet again be flexible in other items, because we want to make sure that you can study the areas that are of most interest to you. So it's really actually pretty exciting to see the required courses we have there, and in all the electives that you have to choose from. And I will just insert to say that I'm always available to chat about ideas, needs, courses that may work for you. And of course, there's advisors that help you with that as well. But the curriculum is intended to be focused on live entertainment. Sure, music is mostly at the heart of that, but we have many alums who have gone into dance and many other arts genres. So it's not always necessarily music concerts per se. We're flexible in that way, but it is about what's happening in 2024 and beyond in the world of live entertainment.
Thank you for that, Gary. Appreciate you. Thank you. So without further ado, let's move into our introductions and Q&A. Gary, since we heard from you, I'm going to ask our incredible panelists, both Marcel and Sarah, to introduce themselves. Sarah, can we start with you? Please go ahead and introduce yourself, when you started the program, that you just graduated, and also what you do professionally now. Please go ahead.
Yeah, of course. So I recently graduated the program back in May, coming up on 2 months now. I started the program in September of 2022. And one thing I actually really liked about the program was it was completely asynchronous for me, which with my current position working in music venues worked really great for me. And I currently work for IMP, which is the independent small business that runs and operates the 930 Club, the Anthem, Lincoln Theater, and the newly opened venue, the Atlantis, which is attached to the 930 Club up in DC off of V Street. And also during the summer, the company operates Merriweather Post Pavilion out in Columbia, Maryland. And I've been working there a little over a year now. And one thing that I personally really like about working there is they promote within for the production department. So everyone who's higher up and maybe is a LD, which is short for lighting designer for any of the venues, any of the audio techs, supervisors, such as et cetera. All of them have all started out as a stagehand and have gone from there. So that's where I'm at the moment.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate you. Marcel, I'm going to ask you to now join us, introduce yourself, let us know when you started the program. You're going to be soon graduating. Go you, awesome. And also what you're currently doing now professionally.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Marcel Solomon. I'm originally from Compton, California. I moved to Dallas by way of Las Vegas about 2 years ago to focus on my studies. I came across this program on my social media feed, and it was everything I was looking for. I was Googling live entertainment, schools, music schools. Before I got there, I've just a little bit about my background. I started a concert promotion company in 2012 with my business partner, Asia. I think she might be on this call, and had a lot of success after doing a college, starting with parties in college and then eventually graduating, wanted to do it and continue it on my own, starting my own company, M. Merriment, hosted up over 100 plus themed events and a couple music festivals in Las Vegas. But I wasn't achieving my goal. I wasn't reaching the heights I wanted to reach. There were certain events that I felt were going to be my key events and my flagship events. One failed miserably, and I just didn't know why. And so I am an entrepreneur by nature, super determined person, and I didn't want to just leave it at that. So Googling, searching, this program came across my timeline. I read the initial description of it, and I said, this is it. And yes, now I'm one class away from graduating from the very first class, actually with Professor Wood. It connected the dots for me, learning that there are 3 parts to the music industry and how interrelated they are really benefited me because I was able to know the intricacies of each department and also what plagues each department, and then also kind of put it all together and come up with a solution for it, which led me to what I currently do now because of Professor Wood and learning about performing arts and nonprofits and how relevant that is to the entertainment space. My partner and I started a nonprofit called Protect the Creatives, where we would like to assist songwriters with music publishing education and then also live performance placements. And then our mission at heart is to combat gun violence in the hip hop community. Ever since 2018, we lost 2 rappers to gun violence. But even before that, Tupac and Biggie, Jam Master Jay. I mean, I can go on and on. So the music industry is a thriving industry, but like with everything, there is things that plague it. And so attacking it from a nonprofit route, I felt would be great. And if it wasn't because of this industry that connected all the dots, I wouldn't be here today. So if you're looking to connect the dots with what you have going on, this program, no doubt, I give it a 10 out of 10 for sure, 100%.
Thank you, Marcel, man. We appreciate you. Clearly, I mean, look at our students. They're our advocates and they're everything that we can ask for and more. Super special environment that we have here. So without further ado, Gary, you gave us a bit about curriculum, which was incredible. Talk to us, right? You also have your professor role that you play in the program, which you teach many students, both on campus and online. Talk to us about that, your role and your professorship, and anything else that you do externally as it relates to the live entertainment management profession.
Well, I do teach several of the courses in the program, depending on which courses you select and so forth, but you'll probably see me a lot. I want to say, though, that with Marcel and Sarah here, that it's probably no secret, but I learn probably as much or more from them than they do from me. But because they come from such unique perspectives and unique needs, that I love being on the tip of my toes all the time, because again, their questions and needs are often similar and often very different. And I want to be, I feel like I'm a downhill skier who's constantly looking for ways that I can help. And so I try to be available as much as I possibly can to answer specific questions. My career hasn't really been a ladder, it's been more like a hedge, but because I have been working in various different aspects of the industry on purpose, I have this sort of quest to understand the full breadth of all of the industries. So I work with artists, I work with organizations, I work with commercial companies. I'm doing some consulting with even with Live Nation this summer. So I'm kind of all over the map. That's just the way I've always been. But you can tell from the two wonderful alumni here that they're similar in their breadth of and their vision of what it is that they're attempting to do. And that's just the nature of being in the live entertainment industry, and that's why the program is designed the way that it is. But so again, my background goes from all across the whole map, and I'm continually learning because I want to know what's going on today. I don't want to talk about what I did in 1989 too much. I want to talk about what's happening today. And so I'm really trying to stay on top of what my amazing students are doing and also what's going on in the industry. And so the curriculum is constantly being refreshed because we need to be talking about the challenges and opportunities that exist in 2024 and beyond. So I just want to kind of give you a mindset of where I'm coming from.
Appreciate that, Gary. Thank you. And I have some questions, but we got one actually in the Q&A that I actually want you to tackle, Gary. And then Sarah, I may pick your brain on it as well. So we have Natalie or Natalie. Thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate you. She says, I'm currently getting a bachelor's in music business where I'm taking courses similar to these. I am curious of the backgrounds of most students in this program and if these courses will go more in depth in topics like marketing, law, I'm assuming copyright law, publishing. Gary, do you want to tackle that one a bit?
Yeah, it's really interesting because the live entertainment industry attracts people from quite a variety of backgrounds, and we don't really necessarily want to automatically exclude someone because of whatever background they have. But live events of whatever type they are, from small to large, is really a hot topic these days. People really want to get into the live side of it, or at least have that part of their curricular path and part of the resume. So what will happen is when you're involved in the program, you will continue to ask those questions. You'll continue to search out the courses and the answers to what it is specifically that's geared towards you. Yes, you can get a lot more in terms of copyright, a lot more in terms of intellectual property and all of those areas. There really isn't something that we don't cover or one of our faculty don't cover. So the real issue, and I think Marcel and Sarah were successful, is because they did ask a lot of questions. They did seek out sort of things to kind of understand. I don't always know when I'm blabbing on a video or I'm providing information in a module, whether or not it's connecting, whether or not it's actually answering questions student have. It's great that you put that question out there and just continue that, because that's where you're going to begin to really find the answers that you're looking for. But I know the program, and including all the electives, will touch upon probably almost everything that you're looking for. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you for that, Gary. Sarah, did you have any insight?
Yeah, so actually I was actually in the same boat going into the LEM program, since I did get my bachelor's in music industry from University of New Haven up in Connecticut. And one thing I really liked that the program here at U Miami did was it kind of bridged the gap between what I got out of my undergrad program and what I was experiencing on site at my current job, both at like the Anthem, the 930 Club, both of those places. It was prior to the program, it was a little bit more difficult bridging that gap. But then as I was getting into that core set of classes, that kind of made things make a lot more sense on site. And actually helped me drive me towards picking the remainder of my classes after getting into the program, starting my work within IMP to focus more on what actually happens behind the scenes at a venue. So that's just the route I ended up taking with the program and all of my electives, having that music business background in undergrad. I hope
Appreciate-
that makes
No.
sense for the question.
It felt very relevant in my opinion. Marcel, do you have any add-ons? Because you took a lot of our course, well, you took all of our courses, but you also had you had your interest in getting more in knowledge in what was live entertainment, business on the side of it. Any insights for this individual? Just curious about the backgrounds of most students in this program and how we go into depth about marketing, copyright law, publishing.
Yes, my undergrad is business entrepreneurship. I have a graduate certificate in new venture management, both from UNLV. A lot of my live entertainment experience came from independent work, also working with some of the largest nightclub operators in Las Vegas. But one thing I would say about this program is it gives you the knowledge to ask the right questions. Sometimes it's about asking the right questions, and I tell my friend this all the time, I'm able to Google things correctly now and search more. And then another thing, a great thing about this program is with it being asynchronous, it does go into depth, but it's not an overwhelming program. I mean, I don't know how the magic works, but in the 6 weeks, you learn so much, but it's not overwhelming at all. I work, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I'm able to complete the modules. I'm able to learn so much weekly, daily, and I do not feel overwhelmed. So also the discussions with the fellow classmates, and also Ms. Jimenez, she hosts a sync up to where people around the business program can meet and talk. And we have some pretty interesting discussions over the last month, 2 months or so. And so, as that continues to grow, I don't see any bounds for information being left out or that you want to search for.
Thank you so much, Marcel. Appreciate you. Gary, we got another question here. So can students complete the program directly after completing their undergrad? Oh, I mean, absolutely. But Gary, please answer that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it happens all the time. So that's not an unusual question nor something that, we would never push anybody away. I do think that one thing we recognize about the program is we get people across the spectrum, not just in terms of interest, but also in ages and experience. So I need to be aware of, as the program director, and also as the person who is sort of often the one who's taking that first set of questions, to be prepared to understand where you're coming from. So, but yes, it's not a program that's designed specifically for someone with 10 or 20 years experience. It can work with someone coming in basically at any level. Again, the challenge is, or the wonderful challenge and wonderful opportunity is that if people come in with certain levels of experience or with specific needs for the work that they're doing, they need to get those questions out and get that into the conversation, because the people with less experience are going to gain so much and they're going to get the answers they need. So I would not hesitate, in my view, to be concerned about stepping right into this particular master's program on undergrad. I think it's really, I think it's very, very doable. I'll finish by saying that don't just pick my brain, but pick the brain of your classmates, because they're coming at it from a variety of different levels and different perspectives. So that's one of the great richness of the experience.
Thank you so much for that, Gary. Appreciate
Can
that.
I jump into another aspect
please,
of this,
Please,
if we have time?
please.
The modules are set up, and I don't really know, to be honest, what a lot of my colleagues are doing in their courses. My modules tend to be a little bit vibrant in the sense that there might be something I take away and something I add because I feel it's more updated. But I do try to add things periodically that I might see in the news or a new trend or something that came to surface for me. I just added something to 2 of my online classes now because it was something that I had not come across really in the industry before. And so it's my point is that the courses are static in the sense that there are certain tasks that you need to do. There's typically a text that you have to acquire and read, but also at the same time they're very fluid, which I think makes it much more vibrant and alive and fresh. So that balance I think really works for all the learners. So just to kind of give you a sense of what the experience might be module to module, at least in the courses that I am teaching.
Appreciate that, Gary. Thank you for that insight. So I'm going to get into some questions we got before. And Samantha and Caleb, we will get to you. We appreciate your questions and your engagement with us. So Sarah, I'm going to come to you. What was your favorite, if you will, a part of the program? What did you like most about the program? It could be certain courses. If you can give us examples as to what your favorites, what you like the most about the program.
Honestly, right off the bat, the flexibility in doing the coursework, just having like the dates each week I needed to get things turned in at the beginning of for most of the classes. And because like I said before, I work at a couple of venues. My work schedule is not what most people work. More often than not, I'm there from like 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then I'm right back there at like 9 p.m. till about 2 or 3 in the morning. So having this flexibility of, okay, I need to get X amount of work done for these classes, that was super appealing for me with that chaotic work schedule that I had and still do. One course I really liked, I had the course number written down. I believe it was the project and live entertainment course. It was actually the last full course I ended up taking. And I liked that course the most, mainly because it was a balance of either having a actual live project that will launch or create a hypothetical project over the course of the class. So it was a great way of seeing like what you could end up doing with everything that you've previously learned out of like your 5 core classes and then all of your electives that you ended up taking, which I know for me were mostly courses that had a connection to working at a music venue.
Right.
So that was one that really stuck out to me because then it's kind of bridging that gap of, okay, you've learned all of this material in class. Now it's time to actually apply it. Yes, it may be a hypothetical project like I did, or it could be something that post-graduation you actually take off the ground, get started. And the one thing I really liked in the course was that all of the different steps that we had to do for the project were legitimate steps that you would take care of in launching that project or business that you're creating over those 7 weeks.
Awesome. It sounded like project management, and maybe you're talking about 804, MIN 804, the projects and live entertainment it sounds
I
like
mix the course numbers up a
that's all
little
right.
bit sometimes.
But yeah, but it is a fantastic, like overall wrap it up and really apply what you've learned throughout the whole program. So thank you for that, Sarah. Marcel, same question for you. What did you like most about the program? Any specific courses and examples you want to give us about what you like most, your favorites, if you will?
That's a loaded question. I mean, all 9 has been great. Sarah, my next class is the Project of Live Entertainment, so I'm looking forward to it. Music publishing class was great. I learned about a lot of what goes on the publishing side of it, the difference between the publishing and the recording, the slight difference between the two, or the big difference, depending how you look at it. Also, music licensing. The current class I'm in, tour management with Professor DeMarco, and media creation. I think all of us have an inner songwriter in us, or inner musician. And being from Compton, that's something that was very prevalent. A lot of rappers, a lot of DJs. But at the same time, we were told as growing up by professors, teachers, that we have enough rappers. We need to be more doctors. We need more astronauts. in the city I'm from. So I was really able to come into this program and really feel confident in me being a musician. And so learning the ins and outs of music licensing, music publishing, tour management, and media creation. Media creation was a real cool class because I ended up buying a studio. I ended up buying a 61 key MIDI keyboard. I bought Ableton Live. I bought some Rode microphones, and I created a rap track and submitted it to my professor. I never did that before in my life, but that program guided me and allowed me to really bring that out of me. So so far so good, and I'm looking forward to Project and Live Entertainment next.
Thank you for that, Marcel. Appreciate you. So Gary, let's jump into a Q&A here from Samantha Gonzalez. And Samantha, thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you. So she says, I've graduated with a bachelor's in communication with a focus in digital video production in 2023. I was wondering how to best include the background into this program. So I'm her background with her bachelor's, as what I did was more behind the scenes of things like film, TV, and music videos, as well as journalism, while making the most of this program.
Well, if you're interested in pursuing more of what you've already been doing, the industry is begging for people like you. Let me tell you that. I'm on the hunt for someone for a festival coming up here later in the month. I would think that the path of opportunity is quite wide and fruitful, if that's really what you want to get into. I don't know totally what you mean by behind the scenes, but more and more video is sort of an automatic of events, as you know, and so artists themselves oftentimes kind of know what they want, but they don't know how to do it. So they need a partner to help those desires, those dreams, those needs come alive. So within the program, I really think that maybe one thought might be is with each of the courses you take, working with me and working with the other instructors to make sure that we understand how it is you're trying to connect that to the work that you're really trying to do. What is it that this course has content that applies to exactly what you want to do? So I hope I'm answering your question, but I'm going to also say that I would suggest that you really remain open to beyond maybe the scope of just that to the other things that the courses might be teaching you. Because when I have someone who's coming to do an event, they're going to video this particular concert, a festival that's coming up later this month, and they don't really have much live concert experience. So we're already sitting together, plotting out ideas of where the shoots can happen, how they move around, how they don't interfere with audience, and how to make all of that happen. And it's really an exciting experience. So my point is that, if you've not done live concerts before, there are definitely people who are going to be able to help you to understand what's happening, what are the needs, how do we make this happen, how do we do the balance, and so forth. So anyway, I hope I'm answering your question. Try again if I didn't, but it would be so exciting to work with someone like you in that background in this program.
Thank you for that, Gary. Yeah, and Samantha did just kind of jump in and say, and a little more context. I have made full documentaries from conception to editing to publication, if that clears it up. And it sounds like, yeah, it sounds like you did touch a bit upon that, but please go ahead.
That's right. That's right. Last year for a festival, I hired someone to do a video program. When they walked in, they came up with this whole concept of what they wanted to do from beginning to end and shared that with the production team and so forth. And the end result was beyond anything that we could have imagined. And that's one of the magical things about you is you have a vision of what you think can happen even beyond what maybe the artist and the others are thinking. So that whole process is remarkable and again has a very important place in this industry.
Thank you for that, Gary. Appreciate you. Marcel, let's start with you again. Talk to us. You spoke about your personal and professional life in terms of having a lot of demands and all the hours that comes with it. How were you able to balance that with the course load that you had within our program? You mentioned 80 hours a week. You're moving, grooving. You created your own nonprofit while you were in the program. So a lot of different things you did. How were you able to balance it? And what skills do you think someone in our program should have in order to manage it and do well and get everything they need to get from the program?
My cell phone, the being able to access the course through my cell phone has worked wonders, and being very diligent about every Monday when they release the new modules for the upcoming week, logging on and just kind of overviewing the entire week, looking at the because every mod it's a few modules, but when you log on the course, you can kind of see how many modules there are, how many videos, and then in my head, I plan out on how I want to attack the rest of the week. It is a very fluid program, like Professor Wood said. So the modules, the discussions, they're usually always on the same date. The meetings with the professor are always on the same day of the week. It doesn't really deviate too much. So just getting with the program and having the passion to go through it. I mean, if you're a musician or a songwriter or live entertainment or on the behind the scenes, or you want to be in front of the camera, this program it won't be too hard. Just having the passion for it and the diligence to make sure I log in at the beginning of every week to know what's upcoming, and then I just every night before I go to bed, I just log on, and whether I'm reading on the couch or reading while I'm laying down, and just going with the flow.
Well, one thing I'll jump into, and maybe Marcel and Sarah can chime in, but the task that I require of students have a deadline, and there's a place to submit the work. But it's true that several times, maybe even during the 6 to 7 weeks, the deadline is too tight because of being out till 2 or 3 in the morning. What I'm saying is that I hope that Marcel and Sarah heard this from me, but I always want quality no matter what. And so if it takes a little bit longer, it doesn't bother me. I mean, I need to get it in so I can give a final grade and assessment. But generally speaking, the deadlines are there because if we didn't have them, the 7 weeks are going to go by like that, and you're going to be really in trouble. But so they're reminders, they're benchmarks to kind of keep moving and get things in. But at the same time, I don't want to be so hard and fast and sort of demote people or demote their work because it was late or something. Because really what I'm looking at is their unique, creative, independent, thoughtful, high quality professional work. And so again, I can't say for Marcel and Sarah what happened per se, but if it was ever late, the goal was to really get the best that you can do. And so there is a little bit of flexibility in that. Again, there is an ultimate deadline, but I don't want people to feel like, oh my God, I've got this terrible deadline, and if I don't, I'm a terrible person. It's really more about staying on track as best you can and get the best work in that you can. Otherwise, I'm not really sure what the point is. And it seems to be working well because the work that I get in the courses that I've taught so far and the ones that I'm in now is really, really of the highest quality work samples that people can use in their professional life. And that's really what it's all about. And I think that's kind of a mantra. I mean, is high quality, ready to go professional work is the goal in the most creative, innovative way possible.
That's right, Gary. And we understand in this program, life happens like that. That's really life happens, and just communicate. Email us what's going on. You need an extended time, we'll get, like we're here for that. Not only Gary, but all the professors. So I appreciate you giving that, giving us that feedback, Gary, because it is absolutely true. I've seen it. I'm in those emails, and thank you for that. Sarah, same question for you. How did you balance the demands of what was your coursework, this program, and your personal and your job and professional life? How were you able to manage that? What skills should a student definitely have or need to learn and gain in this program?
I was a big fan of everything goes on the calendar.
Gotcha.
So one thing I discovered going through Blackboard was there is a way to link your Blackboard calendar to like your iPhone calendar or whatever calendar you use, and making sure those notifications were very loud. And that definitely, for me at least, in what I do for a living, came in really handy. That way I could look at like 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead for all of the coursework, and use that to balance out coursework with my work schedule, since I do work very strange hours at multiple different venues. So that definitely helped me plan out and visualize. Like, all right, I've got 2 or 3 days designated solely for the LEM program, and work my work schedule around just how much coursework I needed to get done that week. Definitely a lot of reminders came in handy as well. That way, if I needed to like come back to something later on, just set like a little reminder for yourself on a phone to pop up when you get back home and all that fun stuff. That worked for me. There's always variations depending on work-life balance. Also making sure that you take time to take a little vacation somewhere in there as well.
We appreciate that, Sarah. Yeah. So just intentionally going, checking, being on top, setting up the calendar. That's what I'm the theme between yours and Marcel's responses are. So I appreciate you both, and absolutely that's being intentional with your degree, because it's going to end. There will be an end point for sure. What are you doing with the time that you are here with us? And we're here to support those efforts. So I appreciate you both. Gary, we got a question in the Q&A as well that speaks to, legal side. Okay, so Caleb, thank you for being here, Caleb. I have an interest in the legal side of the entertainment business with a goal of obtaining a law degree. How would this program best prepare me for that field? Oh, we had a student, right, Gary? But I don't want to name their name for privacy purposes, but we had a student that's now, they are in the process of potentially going to law school. They just finished our program, but please, Gary, chime in.
Well, one of the ways that I tackle that in the legal aspects class is I try to look at it from kind of what Marcel was talking about a little bit about. I like to look at it from the artist side. So if I were an artist unaware of sort of the legalities of the profession I've gotten myself into, I kind of look through their eyes to say, what is it that they need to know? So I have a list of items that I believe any performing artist doing live entertainment needs to know the answers to if they don't know. And then also I look at it from the what we call arts presenting side. If I were running a venue and I needed to know, what is it that I need to know if I'm going to put artists up on my stage? What are all the different things I need to know that I may not be completely aware of? And so I make a list of all of those. And through the course itself, I try to a little bit or a lot, try to answer each of those questions I believe that the artist needs to know and the venue needs to know about what's happening legally up on stage. And that does cross over into copyright, of course, and intellectual property, although there are courses that go into that more depth than my legal aspects class does. But I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, what if something goes wrong? What if something's not going the way I intended? What if I make some kind of an error, from every angle? Now, please keep in mind that when I started back working in the live entertainment industry, I was a music educator for quite a while, and then I slipped into the arts presenting side of the world, and I immediately began to realize there were things that I did not understand that I needed to know. And of course, I would always consult an attorney, or the company would have one, or I would have someone I would talk to. And all of that knowledge and all that experience helped me create the ideas of what is it that these people need to know. And from that, folks like you who might be wanting to get into law may find an area of that really, really interests you. Working specifically with artists as an entertainment attorney, working directly with an artist. And then you have that knowledge of things that artist doesn't know that you're going to guide them through so that they know. So again, I'm trying to pique interest in all. I'm looking at using my hands to think about categories that I cover to make sure that if there's anything that comes up on the legal side, I've at least touched upon it so that you know what you need to pursue and you need to go further. Again, I have a tendency to lean on live entertainment. What happens in a venue, what happens in a performance, what happens with a contract, a performance contract, either for an independent contractor or for a performer, and so forth, or a vendor for that matter. But I think from that array of things that we talk about, you're going to be able to discover perhaps the more focused areas of the law that may interest you under the big law, live entertainment umbrella.
Thank you for that, Gary. Appreciate
Yep.
it. Sarah, I'm coming over to you. So how are you using what you have learned in the program, and give us some examples from what you've learned from your courses and the program, in your professional space that you are in right now? How have you been able to grab what you've learned and actually apply it and put it into practice currently in your professional live entertainment activities?
So honestly, it's allowed me to look at everything at the different venues in a different way now. Even when I was first starting the program, taking those initial courses, I'd end up at work and kind of have like it click in my brain of like, oh, that's why they're doing it X, Y, and Z way. Both from the tours coming through and on the venue side of things. One thing that comes to mind is we had a artist come through the anthem actually, where there's a lot more to that stage than it appears to have. But we do have movable lighting trusses that are above the stage. And a part of their setup was to put what would end up basically being a chandelier off of the lighting truss, and the way they had designed it initially did not line up with our head rigger's safety concerns. And one of the other stagehands who's getting a little bit more into rigging was explained like, yep, no, we do not fly anything based only off of safeties. We provide the alternative equipment from the venue for them to do it properly. And kind of clicked in my brain of like, oh yeah, back in that like legal aspects course, it's like, yeah, like our head rigger was thinking, yeah, that is a lawsuit waiting to happen. So that was just one example of how courses kind of clicked with on the job things that happened. Because they ended up being like, yep, no, here's the stuff to do it correctly and safely so nothing bad happens.
Thank you for that, Sarah. That was like, yeah, amazing. And coming close to time. So Omar, I will be passing it to you in just 1 minute. Marcel, can you answer the same question? What are you using now that, well, you're about to finish, but what have you learned in your courses that you've been able to apply actively in the professional settings that is the live entertainment world on your end?
With the legal aspects class, the very first class with Professor Wood talked about nonprofits. So I converted my current LLC into a nonprofit, or I evolved it, I should say. With the required reading in that course, reading through the chapters, I came across the Ally, or organization that helps form nonprofits. I have no clue about how to submit the forms for the IRS to start a nonprofit, but because of that course and the required readings, I reached out to VLANY, which is a New York Lawyers Association for the Arts. They referred me to TALA, which is a Texas Arts Lawyers Association here in Texas, where I'm at. I paid the $250 membership, and now they connected me with a lawyer, and they actually submitted all the formation documents to the IRS for me for free. And I started my own nonprofit, Protect the Creatives. ProtectTheCreatives.org is our website. Our mission there is to assist songwriters with music publishing education, and we envision to be the only nonprofit music publishing company in the nation. The class succeeding professors, the legal aspects, I met with Professor Redmond. He's been in the industry for 40 some odd years. Let him tell it, from an artist to a high level exec within Universal, Warner, one of the big three. And I asked him, I said, what do you think about a nonprofit music publishing company, Professor Redmond? And he was like, Marcel, why would you want to do that? You know, it's so much money. Why would you want to do that? He said, unless you're benevolent. And so I Googled benevolent. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly who I am. I'm a benevolent person. And there's a lot of issues that are going on music publishing side, dealing with the masters, copyright law, stuff I had no idea about, to the point to where maybe I should be a music lawyer. But with that said, I would start off with the nonprofit organization and see if I can attack those issues as an entrepreneur. And yeah, with every class, I'm able to implement something into my entrepreneurship skills. So
Appreciate that. Thank you, Marcel. I appreciate everybody for being here. Omar, I know we're on time. Please take us away, because I know we had a question on tuition and scholarships, and I know you have something on that for us. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So just to touch on some resources here, we have a number of different resources to help students stay connected. And really, the main point from the resources that we have is, if you don't see something there, if you don't find your answers, on our admissions advisement side, we're more than happy to help you out, find the right answer for you. As you can see, just different types of resources, like the Topple Career for students as professional needs. And then back over to, the requirements for the application, the items that you'll need. Of course, your transcripts, letters of recommendation. When it comes to the FAFSA and just the way of thinking about how you want to fund your program, those conversations can always get a little intricate. So by all means, us over here on the enrollment side, we're more than happy to break down how everything works for you so you can get a better idea of how things are. And so with our early admissions deadline being July 8th, we're actually offering a wonderful incentive for students. One, you can get the $300 deposit fee waived, in addition to getting a 50% tuition waiver as well. So really, really good for saving up some money. And just as a reminder, early admissions deadline Monday, July 8th. Again, if you need to reach out to any of us enrollment advisors, you see a number there. We're also available via chat. That's a little bit easier for you. If you're ready to go with the application, you'll see we have a QR code there as well. And before we let you go, I just wanted to thank all our wonderful panelists today. We hope everyone enjoyed the content. It was really great to hear all the different perspectives. And folks, we hope to see you soon as a future Kane. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.